right, today we're going to talk about 38-inch tires. There's kind of a lot to talk about. I'm going to talk about maybe why I wanted them, why I didn't go with 37s, why I didn't go with 40s, and then what it takes to get there, who these are for. First off, let me talk about the kind of off-roading I do. So I'm in Arizona, if you guys have watched my channel, all sorts of levels of off-roading. I try some really basic, easy trails, and then I'll do harder rock crawling as well. I try to push this as much as I can, which is why I'm constantly trying to upgrade and get bigger, better things so I can do harder and harder obstacles. So yeah, 38s for me, it's actually a stepping stone to 40s. So I was at 35s, 38s to 40s. Now, why did I not go 37s instead of 38s? Mainly because I wanted the biggest tire that I could get before doing all the extra stuff that you need to go to a 40. Because essentially all the prep work you have to do for a 37 is the exact same as a 38, but you're getting an inch more. Off-roading feels like a game of inches. Literally, it could be the difference between getting up an obstacle or hitting a little rock on your pumpkin or something. So why not make every advantage count? So that's why I went with that. We then had two options there because I always want mud terrain, pretty much between the Nitto and the Patagonia. Whole video breakdown of why I chose Patagonia, so I'll try to put the link up here. You guys can watch that. Anyway, went with Patagonia. Super happy with them. But you do need to now prep your vehicle for this. You can't just slap them on and be okay with it. Like, you're going to probably break some stuff. You're not going to have the power you want because now it's a bigger tire on these stock gears, especially if you're not running a Rubicon. The Rubicon comes with 410 gears. I had to make the decision, do I want to go to 488s or 513s? A lot of people online just kind of debate between the two. I chose 513s because it felt like a no-brainer if I'm eventually going 40s. If you were only doing 37s or 38s, you could go with 488s, but I still think the 513s, at least based on the people I talk to, based on the other people I know who have them, they all seem to really like the 513s. It's a future-proof gear ratio. I went with Revolution gears. I've heard good things about them. I was kind of pushed away from Yukon a little bit. I guess I heard, and this is one person told me, but like they were bought out by another company and they stopped, the manufacturing quality kind of went down a little bit. So hey, that was enough for me to jump over to Revolution. So next thing, you're going to want to beef up your axles. So I got the Artec Truss and Gussett kit. What that does is it takes your axle and essentially just welds metal all around it. So now it's a lot stronger. So that's going to help with braking things because your tires are so much bigger. The rotating mass just puts more and more strain on everything. One thing I didn't mention was the re-gear. People always think, oh, you're going to get worse gas mileage. But I get the same, if not better, because I re-geared. Like, actually better than... So my 35s on 410s was worse gas mileage than my 38s on 513s. Or within a half a mile or one. So that to me is a win, which is really nice. Back to the Truss and Gussett. Another thing, I actually had an axle leak on my rear. And the guy was like, look, it's going to only be $80 more to get you a full chromoly axle shaft compared to repairing this piece. So in the rear, I got chromoly axle shafts. I want to get chromoly RCVs in the front. Are they necessary? No. Those are something that's necessary for the 40s to leap forward. So if you're feeling up to it, go ahead and throw them in there. That's what I did. So the rear's already chromoly, so it's ready for 40s. I guess the other thing, maybe it's obvious, but I don't want to overlook it. I do think you need a lift. I've seen people run 38 without a lift. I mean, the Jeep fender wells are so huge you can, but you're going to give up some flex and travel, so you're going to want to do that. I'm running a 3-inch lift, so it's actually Metalcloak Game Changer 2.5 lift, but I swapped out the springs for a rock crawler and their 3-inch rock crawler, which is actually pretty close to a 3.5-inch with their correction pads. That's what I like. It gives me a ton of flex. It's awesome. Now you're going to need new drive lines as well because it's higher up. It changes the angle and geometry of everything, so you're going to need a new drive line. But that all comes with your lift. The one thing I regret doing is I originally got the 2.5-inch lift, and then I switched out my springs to the 3, like a Metalcloak. I wish going back, I just would have got a 3.5-inch lift or a 3-inch lift from the get-go. Probably would have saved $600, knowing that I was going to eventually get to 38s. So, like, if you are knowing you're going to get to 38s and you don't have a lift yet, just do what lift you want for those. It might look a little tall and chicken leggy at first, but you'll save $600-700 by not having to swap out your springs later, and just save yourself a little bit of that headache. And that $600-700 can go towards a different mod. It can go towards the chromoly axle shafts in the back or something, or pay for some of the gearing. That's my advice. That's one mistake I made. Overall, I absolutely love the 38s. I want as much traction, I want as much advantage as I can possibly get on the trail, and even though it's not much, a 38 versus 37, it's a little bit of advantage, so I'll take it. They look awesome, super cool, obviously, can't downplay that. That's part of the reason we get these Jeeps, right? Performance is amazing. You'll have to look at this one video I made. It's 35s versus 38s, Elvis Trail out here. I couldn't make it up this one obstacle, and I'm not the guy who's like flooring and bumping and bouncing. Like, okay, I probably could have made it in 35s if I just gunned it, but I'm not about to do that. That's not what kind of driver I am. You probably noticed that if you're watching my videos. So I go back, same obstacle like 3 months later with the 38s, and I make it up the obstacle pretty easily. So that to me is worth it right there. Like, that is worth getting them. It's when I can do an obstacle I wasn't even able to do. It's not just about making obstacles easier, because I'm not out there just to have easy. I don't want everything just to be easy. I want to be able to do as many obstacles as possible. So that one particular waterfall in Elvis, I could always go left, tried it on the right, and I couldn't make it. But now I can do either because I have 38s. And there's another line there that's down the middle. Maybe when I get 40s, I can go down the middle too. So it's about opening up the opportunities, allow me to do more obstacles and stuff. So overall, love the 38s. You know, it's not cheap. I probably spent $5,000 just getting it prepped for the 38s. And that was before my lift. I mean, I think my lift was like $5,000. And then the gears and labor, truss and gusset was probably, and the chromolys was probably another $5,000. So you're looking at like $10,000 if you're coming from stock. So it's not cheap. But it's not quite 40s, which is another. I just got a quote for PSC on 40s, and it was $6,000. So that's just the hydro steering assist. We'll get into that later, because I do plan on getting that down the road. But you guys got questions or anything at all? I don't know if I glazed over too much, but I'd love to answer it. Please leave your comments and let me know what you guys think. Do you have 38s? Do you have 37s? Did you go all the way to 40s? Let's just chat, and maybe if you have some advice for me, jumping up to 40s. But subscribe, please. I got more videos coming soon.